Yeehaw! Welcome to three of my favorite cowboys.
I have
How
ridden a horse before.
you have ridden a horse? That is good to know. Not a cowboy, but a horse.
No,
Um, how are we doing today, Miss Nettles?
doing well. Um, Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, so I
Oh, it
got my
was.
yearly corned beef and cabbage and soda bread, and it was so good. I'm so happy. Anyway, yeah. So I am here, and I am showered and presentable mostly because I have an interview in a couple hours.
Ooh.
So I'm excited.
For
Everyone in
Lucas
the
Studio.
fingers crossed.
No. It's a
Okay.
receptionist job, but it's more than minimum wage, and it's more than I was making at Barnes & Noble. So,
That's
Hopes and prayers.
crazy.
Hopes and prayers.
Barnes and Nobles was like not a good pay then. I have no idea what it's like working in a bookstore.
the pay was not very good.
I
But-
feel like they take advantage of the fact that many people want to work in a bookstore.
Yeah.
Do they though? Do a lot of people want to work in bookstores?
I feel like a lot. No?
We had a couple people walk in asking to apply.
Well, a job's a job, right? I mean, and I mean, if you be around books, that's kind of a thing. But customer service is never fun.
And this one will be a receptionist at a chiropractor clinic. So,
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
So people coming in pain, coming back out like, I feel way better.
Well,
Yeah,
you're feeling worse pain after the chiropractor, but then it gets better.
That's true.
But there's like a 24-hour buff where you're like, oh, this is somehow worse.
Yeah.
And then you're magically fixed.
ta-da!
What are you working on today, Miss Laura?
That is an excellent question. I don't know. So, there's these books that have come out. The first one's right here. The second one's over there. Go luck yourself. And I am in a book hangover from these things. I love them so much, and I might draw some fan art.
Is it romance novels?
The romance, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
this
it's
one
good to be
is
enamored.
The Crown Prince of Christmas and the Crown Prince of Halloween. The other one is the Christmas Prince's younger brother, and then the Crown Prince of St. Patrick's Day.
Not familiar with these kingdoms, but I'll believe you.
It's so good.
Mrs. Tries, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I've had the day off sick, and that's actually helped a
Oh.
lot. So
So you're not doing okay. You're poor.
well, I actually think I was doing way worse yesterday, but I didn't take the day off sick, and I think that's why I was feeling so bad. So I was like, I need a day when I'm not working, and then the
We all do.
congestion behind my eyes will stop hurting my brain.
Oh no.
So,
Well, I'm happy to hear you're getting better.
yeah, I did.
I do
did
not
do a bit
not
of
familiar
reading.
with this location. Where are we? Or is it
Oh,
secret?
and we're in my living room. I'm on the couch. I've got
What
a
a rare
little
treat.
next to
Hello,
me.
Edgar.
He's very sleepy.
What
And
a
I've got
oh,
the
yeah.
TV where I'm watching. If you
Right.
recognize,
Sanderson.
yeah, I'm on
I
like
think we have the same wall color, you and me.
very likely. I feel like I've talked a lot about this wall color. But
Mine is called Antique Green, but it's by a Norwegian company, so I don't think.
yeah, mine is by an English company called Coat. So, but
Coat of
they
many
also
colours.
do matching. If that's why I like them. Like you can be like, oh, I really want this color from Lake Paints or whatever, like Barrow or whatever, and they can match and just give you the exact color you asked.
Well, that's good.
I
That's
do
good.
like that.
Are you working on anything particular today?
I think I'm going to continue what I'm doing, which is taking notes. I'm actually acting like a student of Brendan
Ooh.
Sanderson's lectures. I didn't really take notes in the first 4 lectures because I think it was mostly stuff I knew and recognized from other craft books that we've read together, for instance. But the previous one, number 5, was about creating compelling characters, and I felt compelled to take notes on that one. So
The power of Sanderson compels you.
exactly. And this is another one about characters. This one is customizing your characters. So I think it's like number 2 of, the 1 and 2 on characters. So I'll be on my Notion taking notes.
I'm just finished yesterday with the first lecture on plot.
Nice.
That's episode 2, and I'm taking notes of them all. But yeah, mostly it's just like, your novel, should have a premise.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I feel like the first lessons are things we know, and
I,
then it
I'll
grows.
take notes because I don't know, something about like the physicality of writing it down for me kind of just imprints it on my brain.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
not
feel like I've already
imprint.
forgotten
Ugh,
a lot
wow.
of those previous lessons, to be fair, so you're right.
So I can just refer back to my notes on progress, pacing, and whatever payoff. Is that what it's called? Pacing,
Yeah,
progress, payoff.
I think so.
Premise, promise, progress, payoff. There you go. See, I take notes. I'm an arduous student, but that sounds lovely. I'm very jealous. One of my goals this, well, no, I'm not jealous because I'm doing the exact same thing. But
You're literally
I
doing the
just,
same.
I wish I was just up to where you were.
Oh,
But one of my goals this year is to complete a writing course, and I was initially going to do the Readsy one, but that's just so fucking long. Oh my god, talk about a
Yeah.
never-ending
Expensive.
story. Yes, sure. I wasn't paying for it, but it has since expired. So I just like, I guess I'll do the Brandon Sanderson ones, and why not
Yeah.
learn from one of the best in the business?
And everyone's talking about his lessons at the moment because obviously he's doing the 2025 version of
I
his
will
course.
say though, there is a level of fandom to it that I'm not
Mm.
familiar with. So I'm just like, everyone's laughing. I'm looking around like, what are we laughing at?
Like
And
when he talks about his own books and stuff. Yeah, I
well, his
actually
own
have.
books, and then like name dropping people and like talking about previous classes and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think this is a class you take if you're like a Brandon Sanderson stan, and I think all of his students are stans.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I
it's a
also
college
think you
class, but I
can
think,
take it
yeah.
without being a stan.
I
Because
mean, yes, I mean the knowledge is the knowledge.
I've
but it's
never
just
read any of his books because I've never felt like any of them were like the synopses don't appeal to me.
synopsi,
What is the plural of synopsis?
synopsises.
They don't appeal to me in general. Like I'll read one and I'll be like, I want to read it because of how everyone reads him. But
Right.
unfortunately, when I read the synopsis of any of his books, I'm like, I don't really want to read this right now.
You know what's funny about that though? Okay, because I never was interested in reading his books either, for the same reason. I was just like, it sounds like standard fantasy, like
Yeah.
I've read it before, kind of thing. And then it was the kid I used to babysit, and he's like 35 now, but he
The young child of 35.
he was a baby when he was like I started babysitting when he was like 11 or 10, and he
1 year older than me.
I know. He hated to read. Hated both of them. Ruby and Dylan hated it. So I did everything I could possibly do to get them to read. And I actually was able, which he still credits me for, to making him the avid reader that he is today. And so
Through Brandy Sandy.
he was the one who said, you have to read this book. And it's like when you've cultivated
Yeah, then you have to listen.
You have a moral obligation.
You feel
can't say no.
you feel like, okay, yeah, I'll read it. I like fantasy, and so
Yeah.
he, of course, he had me read Way of Kings, which is, and
Are
I'm
you
like,
kidding me? The one with 3 prologues.
He was saying that, and my
I
stance
know.
on prologues. That was absolutely not. But,
That's so funny.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll read. Of course, I'll read it. But now I'm like obsessed with. I've pretty much read everything that Sanderson has written. So I don't know if it's just like, I'm not saying that you would too, but I'm just saying like I know exactly what you're feeling because I was like,
I have a secondary problem which I've talked about before, and I feel like Steve can relate to that problem, which is that my brain will automatically go like, oh, everyone's recommending this, then I'm certainly not going to want to read it.
Yeah,
like,
see, I was reading
the
it when
more
nobody
you tell me what to do, the less I want to do it. Similarly, why I still haven't started watching Severance, even though I feel like I could genuinely like it, but everyone at work is talking about it. It's pissing me off. So it just
that would be annoying. I get that.
That's me with Save the Cat.
Yeah. Well,
Save the Cat is generally great, though, Laura. You would love it.
Yeah, but you're doing it, Steve. Just don't do it. Save the Cat.
I mean, yes, I'm not emotionally invested in this.
Terrible. Well, I tell her it's terrible. The screenplay version's terrible, but she's still, No, I totally get it, but
yeah.
that is why. So I am happy that I got into it because he is one of my favorite authors now, but I totally understand that like I probably never would have read him ever if I hadn't if Dylan hadn't been like, please read this book.
Yeah, you can't say no to that. That's no choice.
I mean, I read Mistborn and I enjoy it, but then I tried to read Elantris, or was it Way of Kings?
I
And it
think
was
you
just
started
like,
Lantris
oh,
for like
a prelude to a prologue to chapter 0. I'm out.
Yeah, he says it. He jokes about it himself in one of his lectures where he's like, "Way of Kings is not where you start with me. It's the book you read when you trust me already."
And I guess I
but
didn't
that's
trust
the
him
one I
because I
started
never.
with, and it made me trust him. So
Yeah.
it's the opposite. But again,
Yes, no, you trusted basically the
Dylan,
advice
I
of someone
trusted
else.
Dylan.
To
Yeah,
read
you're right.
Similarly, if I were to read Way of Kings first, it would be because I already know from my friends who are huge fans of
right.
Brandon Sanderson that
That's
he
true.
will, give me the payoff from his promise of the premise or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta say with that particular series, Stormlight, he does structure it the same way where it's like it's good in building, but it's still kind of like low energy. And then the last like 300 pages, which is a normal size book, by the way, but the last like 300
The
pages,
second book in this 2 books, 1 book.
yeah, it's always like insanity and you can't like stop. So it's like he does this great build for 700 pages and then in the last 300 it's just like, and so you kind of like, now that you know that's the formula of these giant books, it kind of keeps you in, for me anyway, and keeps me enticed to know like, okay, how's he gonna, because you know it's coming, like he hasn't
It's like, I feel like it's so common with high fantasy books because of all the world building that people want to do, and so you have like an entire book of information before the book starts, and I don't think that these books are for me.
No, I know what you're saying, but he is good about developing the character more than the world, which I appreciate because sometimes I hate the world dumping, you know what I mean? In some fantasies where you're just like, oh, I don't care about this type of cow that's like, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, long story short, yeah, or longer as I always say.
That was a long story long for sure.
That was really long.
Madam
But
Becca,
I totally
how are you doing?
understand.
How are you doing, Becca?
How you doing? 30 minutes after into this stream.
I think I'll actually be able to get through this draft of the screenplay during the stream.
I'm excited for
I only
this.
have
Very
about 30
excited.
pages to go.
Very
Yeah.
exciting.
So, but the first sprint, I do need to finish posting my TikToks, and then I can.
And you do 17 of them each day, so try to get on it.
I do six. But I'm mixing it up a little bit lately where I was doing all riser, just pushing. But I think, was it on your stream last week where, yeah, I think it was, where I told you guys that I got nerfed on the 3 accounts. So I took a break, and then so now I'm doing half riser, half dream diaries.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But the thing is that TikTok, I kind of always refer to it as like the Wild West of social media. So you can kind of just experiment, and if it fails, it fails.
Because it's not like if you post something on YouTube or Instagram, I feel like most people who are going to see it are people who are subscribed to you or like know your content. But then on TikTok, randos are going to see your 100%. Content, and like it's just so randomized, I feel like.
Which is great for book advertising, because that's the problem with promoting your book on YouTube and Instagram, is it only goes to the people that follow you. They know you, but there are other writers.
You're not getting new.
Yeah, you're not getting any new readers. Whereas on TikTok, I think that's why it works so well for the book marketing, because exactly that. Yeah, you're getting to people that don't know you. They just found you in their algorithm for what they like. So
yeah.
I just found this author on Instagram.
Oh, that's good.
And they did a little tease. They're having a special book edition, and it is gorgeous. It's like, I need money.
You're gonna buy it.
So you need a job. That's what you need, Laura.
I know. I need my job so I can get money, so I can get these special editions.
And I'm Stieg. Welcome to another Tuesday's sprint stream. I'll be working on my comic book as usual. I'm inching ever so closely to the end of Act 2. And my Act 3 is fairly short, so hopefully I can finish Act 2 by the end of the month.
Okay.
Are you
Um,
on time-ish with where you want it to be at this date or not?
I'm not sure. I think in terms of word counts, I'm on track. Actually, I'm ahead like 500 words or something. So that's good. But
Yeah,
my,
but when you're trying to finish a manuscript, you're not about word counts anymore. It's about where you are in the story, isn't it? Which beat.
so in that term and sense, I'm not on track.
Okay.
Uh,
It's going to be a longer book than you thought, word count wise.
not necessarily. I might just be a slow writer. I think
Okay.
the book is going to be, let's see, 63 now. Probably 80K question mark.
Nice.
So we're inching ever so close to the end. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let's say hello to some friends. 15 minutes into this. Hello, Phoebe. Ever so delighted to have you. Welcome, welcome. Susan is here. Hello. It's high noon there. Well, it's also high noon in my book. Well, it's actually moved on to midday or afternoon, as it's called. Anna is here. Hello. Good luck, Laura. JC is here. Some well wishes. A couch reveal. I think I've seen your couch on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like I've
Uh,
also done a stream with you from this couch once, ages ago.
I have selective amnesia, so I have forgotten.
This is just the
Um,
spot to have some cuddles, is all.
it's a good spot. The promise of the premise. Yeah, he calls it premise, progress, payoff, or whatever his 3 P's are. And then he's talking about big P and little p. It's a lot of P's. Becca, says JC Carpenter, I'm revisiting the TV script, working on it for the first sprint or two. There you go. And Susan is reading Story Genius and using it to think through some things in their goldmine horror. Do you want to weigh in on Story Genius, Malin?
No, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. It's not for me in my writing. It is certainly for other people. I've heard so many people loving it. So
It is one of the biggest ones when people mention crap books and writing.
exactly.
It's not for me.
But it was not
either.
for us, and that's all right. Not everything has to be for us.
Yeah.
Time is no longer real. That was a long pause. Yeah, I had to think about it. And just some nervous emojis. Is that what this is? I don't know. From Anna. Let's dive into the first sprint. What are we feeling like time-wise? Any preferences?
No.
I'm just watching Brendan Sanderson's. I shouldn't really weigh in on this. I can do that in any amount of time.
Should we start off with a classic 25?
Yeah.
Or an ad, maybe? Boom,
Perfect.
boom, boom, boom. Yeah, let's do 25 minutes on the clock, and then we come back and talk about what we worked on, because that's how this works. And 3, 2, 1, let's roll. How did y'all do for that sprint?
Found the tab. I
Yay.
was drawing. So, got some basic sketch down. So, yeah.
Exciting.
It's a little on the spicy side.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a romance.
It is. But it's like, you can barely see it. But like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Ooh,
I
that's
see
that's,
some kissing.
Yeah.
that's lusty. You
It's
know,
pretty PG
that's
for a couple of
sexy.
Europeans.
I know.
I watched about 10 minutes of this lesson, and then I was doing some prep for dinner as well. So just a mix of both. That's about it.
I just created and posted TikToks, but I still have one more to go. But I
I
only have one
believe
more
in
to
you.
go.
Nice.
I got 457 words and thus have completed my daily word count.
Amazing. In 25 minutes.
Wow.
Yes, God, 457. 450. My target for today was 300.
That's really
wow.
good.
So as you can see, if my daily target is 300, I'm not going to reach the end of a book in a month because that's a really low target. But it's the only way I can stay sane.
Yeah. Gotta do.
That's how I did. Let's see what our friends did. We were joined by Eva. Hello, hello. Susan chimed in saying, so far it has been helpful. I'm sure I'll find things that are less helpful as I go in relations to Story Genius by Lisa Cron.
Mm.
If you can stay awake when you're reading it, you're doing good.
I feel like we just love to shade that book for no good reason.
We do love to dogpile on it, and that's fine. Working through a work inbox, says Anna. I hope you got through a bunch of emails. 231 brainstorming words, says Susan. And Eva ate some egg rolls. Sounds yummy. JC says, I'm still tinkering around with this scene, trying to fix it so I can move on to the next one. Roughly 386 words. Are you a edit as you go kind of writer, JC? Call in.
I don't think so.
Nice job. Well, maybe they're just trying to move on to edit the next scene and not actually write the next scene. I don't know.
I think.
Eva says, finishing a book quickly isn't always the best goal when life allows us room to do the other things. I mean, sure, but it's been over a year at this point, and I'm over taking long times writing books. Ugh. Why? I'm proud of everyone for doing the thing, says Eva. Thank you so much.
Like
We were joined by Flora. Hello, hello.
It took me 1 month to do my first draft of my YA sci-fi, and then it took me 2 years to do my first draft of my paranormal romance. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, you never know how long it's going to take. I've did same thing. I've had things like even like the screenplays. I've had the screenplay that did the best for me, that got me, all my breaks. I got into the semifinals of the Nickel Fellowship, like all the crazy shit. I wrote in a night.
That is crazy.
That's crazy.
The whole freaking thing. I just was like, I had a deadline because a producer wanted to read. He loved the concept so much, and I hadn't written. I was like, oh yeah, I'll have it. And then I decided not only did I decide to write it in that evening, but I also decided to go to a movie and then come home from the movie. I mean, this is when you're in your 20s where you just have no sense of reality. And I just literally just sat down and wrote the entire script and handed it to him the next day, which, to be fair, that draft was probably garbage. And like he was like, oh no, I think we could work with this. And then we sort of passed on it.
You saw the idea.
Yeah, but I just puked out the idea basically. And then, but then I, honestly, it was because I did it all in one go. Because remember, screenplays are about 20,000 words, so it's not like writing a book in a night. And I'm sure that first draft was probably closer to like 15 or 16,000. So, but then, it didn't, because I wrote it all at once, I felt like I got the whole story out, like in a, because sometimes going back to things, you forget
Yeah.
about things and this and that, and then this doesn't make sense, and then you have to fix this and da da da. But when you just have like the completed story just all at once, sometimes, and then sometimes not. Sometimes it takes, like we were saying, 3-4 years to finish something. So anyway, you never know is the whole point of that. Like, long story longer again.
She feels very.
I always want to
very
chime in with
Becca
one little
motto.
sentence and I make it into some giant speech. So sorry. I'll shut up.
Don't be sorry. I love it. I love it. I love hearing a little Becca anecdote. Stig, are you still doing the ramp up? I am. I've reached 300 words this week. So
Are you doing 400 next week? Like
400 next week, and then the last day of the month is actually a Monday. So then it's 500 words on that Monday, which all in all, long story long, equates to 7,500 words for the month. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when I wrote 437 words in February, it's more.
It's also like harder to stay consistent, I feel like, sometimes than it is to write a certain amount of words. Like, I find it easier to have days when I write 0 and then a weekend when I'm going to write 5K than to consistently write, just a certain amount of words, but every single day, and make sure that I do it every single day. So it's still like an achievement just in terms of like you're building a routine.
I'm the opposite. I can't do add 1,000 words. I tap out mentally. So I'm just not interested. So I can't do big weekends. Okay. So since I can't do big weekends, I have to do it a little bit every day.
Yeah. At least you know what method would make you the most productive. So that's good.
Yeah. So we'll see. Can I keep consistency? I don't know. But I feel like 10,000 words on average a month would be like a goal, I think, with a full-time job and having a life. Because I'm not trying to be a career author, so there's no pressure. I don't have a deadline, and I'm not beholden to writing to live a life or to get an income and stuff.
Right.
But it's still, I wish I would write faster. Anna says I'm still currently on that 2-year cycle too. We're just a couple of gals with a full-time job, Anna, and doing our best. It's fine. Flora says, I've just come back from a day checking out the potential uni and master's program. I'm a bit tired, but maybe I'll manage some words. I hope you do, Flora. Also, what's the program? Do you wanna tell? JC says, to be fair though, when I said tinkering, I wasn't fixing any grammatical errors or anything. I was fixing the conversation that was happening.
Okay.
It is a one-sided conversation, and I had to add some action in between to make it not so drab, because it's just one side that you're getting as the audience. Oh, that makes sense. Lynn says, hello, almost done with the work today, 10 more minutes, and then perhaps I will join you next sprint and do some writing. Ooh, I hope so, Lynn. I hope so. And then someone who has been consistent with the writing, Manuk, hello. Also consistent with moving houses.
And has also been doing the 5 a.m. club. Like, I saw a few days of 5 a.m. waking up. Crazy, just crazy. I could never.
Yeah. I can and I have, but consistently, I don't know. I went to the doctors a couple of weeks ago and my blood work came back and I have a critical low level of vitamin D. So that explains why I've been feeling very rusty this winter. But I've started treatment, fish oil, and it's going great. So today I woke up before my alarm at 6 a.m. and was like, I'm not even tired. So didn't write though, but I did read and made a cup of coffee. JC says I missed a comment, and I sure did. No, I'm not an edit as you go, but the thing is with script writing, you kind of have to edit a little because if one scene is off, then your next one won't be right. That makes sense. And Manuk says, yes, literally the only time I have currently to write, and you're doing it, so kudos.
Anna, no, don't do
Anna
it. Go on.
says, I've been so annoyed with myself that I'm legit considering bringing back the 5 a.m. challenge.
Don't do
You
it.
hated that so much, Anna. You hated that so much. But you certainly was entertaining a vlog. If you haven't watched Anna's 5 a.m. blog, if you want to do a case study on human despair, I recommend that video. That vlog.
Oh.
Wait, does fish oil help with energy? Yes, it gives, well, at least Norwegian fish oil is a great source of vitamin D. So it helps with joint pain and then vitamin D deficiency, which can cause sleepiness and joint pain and a bunch of other stuff. So at least in Scandinavia, it's recommended to do fish oil, so like a spoonful of fish oil every morning in the winter half year.
The thing that was affecting my energy levels was iron deficiency.
So you just have to eat an iron bar. It's fine.
It's hyperthyroidism, but still, that was the one that is always like everything is fine, and then the iron is still like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always
Is
have
that
to-
all I need to do? Well, of course, you should always consult your doctor before doing anything medical. Wait, hold up. It helps with joint pain too. It did help with my joint pain. So I'm not saying it'll help with yours, but it helped with mine. And I guess, it all just comes down to the cause of your joint pain and the cause of your sleepiness. And, ask a doctor, Busy. Ask a doctor. I'm just some guy on the internet saying what works for me.
Who's a nurse?
I have watched those 5 a.m. vlogs of Anna's. Can confirm. Very entertaining.
Not the little
They
Scott.
are. I love the little 5 a.m. week we did. It was fun. It was fun. Flora says it's a program in museum pedagogy and curation. How do you say pedagogy? Is that
Isn't it pedagogy?
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 English speaking Canadians? Chime in? No.
No, it's up to us. It's up
I'm looking it up.
The two foreigners. Fine.
It says Google says pedagogy,
Pedagogy. Okay.
the method of practice of teaching, especially in an academic subject or theoretical concept.
It's the same
Yeah.
word in French, but that's not how I would have pronounced it in French, so it's confusing.
In Norwegian is pedagogic. So
Okay. It's pedagogy.
uh,
There you go. Now we
it's
have all
been
the
a-
pronunciations.
it's been long enough now that the pain is blurry. It's like childbirth. Like you forget about it. Or so I've heard.
I feel like this is the kind of thing people do when they hate the gym and they join a gym membership and they're like, I never want to go and I hate this so much. But then they're like, oh, but I have good memories of the benefits only. And so they're like, I can do this again. And it's like, but you hated the process. So
Yeah, I think for me it has to be sustainable, and 5 a.m. is not sustainable.
yeah.
But 6 a.m. could be sustainable. I don't know. Let's see how this fish oil works out. It's only been week 1 so far, but it
Do
does
the
take a
6
week
a.m.
to 2.
club. Do a new challenge.
6 a.m. club. What would that club be for Anna? That would be like 1 a.m. club. Well, the same thing about childbirth. Yes. Speaking of childbirth, I think we're going into a new sprint if everyone's ready. Since I've done my daily word count, I will be reading the craft book for this month, which is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, which me and Grape are doing next Tuesday.
What?
Oh, look, Laura is also there. I love this cover. So that's what I'll be reading now. And let's see, I prepared a timer because I am organized. I'm a type A older sibling. There you go. We're not going to do 49 minutes, but we are going to do 30. Okay, no more comments. I think we're just going to head into it. 3, 2, 1, let's roll.
Hello?
Are you? Was he
I think the
speaking?
headphones died.
Oh, okay. Hello.
I hear you.
There
I
you
hear
are.
you breathe.
Okay. Oh my God. Technology. How did y'all do for that sprint?
I continued drawing and wrestled with hands.
Why
Oh.
you need
That's
hands when you're
hardest.
drawing kissy faces?
Because there's one grabbing the other.
Oh, that's true. The neck grab, which is a
Sexy.
choice, Laura.
It's
It's in the book, okay?
How did you do for that sprint, Ms. Malin?
I made dinner that I'm still eating. Sorry. So that's why I'm muting myself when I'm not talking. And I watched another 10 minutes of Sanderson's lecture, and I'm still taking notes. I'm currently at character motivations. So he's got like, you can see the segments on YouTube, and the character motivation one has like a motivation question segment that is the longest of the video. So I'm guessing that's what people have a bunch of questions on, and then he probably runs out of time on the other two. So
Yeah, he does that. Well,
every time.
it's a lot of students just asking.
Do you feel like me? Am I reading too much into it? But I kind of feel like sometimes people will ask questions to a good question rather, do you know what I mean? Like they want to be, oh, I've asked a question on the YouTube video with Brendan Sanderson and it was a good question.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, what does this has to do with anything he's currently saying?
Yeah.
And I've known people like this, and I'm somewhat of a person like this. Not like the question asker, but I'm the kind of student who like every time the teacher asks a question, I'll raise my hand.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. But I never like initiate questions like they do. And I feel like sometimes it is not about the question; it is about being
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
That makes question. If
The
that makes
only
sense.
time I feel like I probably used to be like that in my 20s, and now I've transformed it into what I hope is a positive, which is like, for instance, I went to an author talk that was like quite small. It was a very small group of people. I could sort of tell most of the people there were her family and friends. And I'm generally excited by the book and I generally want to read it. But I had in my mind prepared a question for it not to be awkward when she went, are there any questions? And for someone to ask it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like, I want that girl to know people have questions about her book and are excited about it and not to feel awkward in the silence. So
Yeah. That's sweet.
Definitely. And it's always the guys too in his class. It's always the guys.
true.
Miss Becca, how did you do?
Yeah, actually, it reminded me though. It reminds me of Comic-Con, like panels. It's like the people that line up for questions. Half the time, they literally have nothing to do with anything. They just want to interact with the people on the panel, you know. And it's fine because they know that's why they're there, and they're always good sports about it. And even if the question is just whatever, but it just kind of reminds me of that. I think people just want to have that I talk to this person that I am such a fan of kind of thing.
It reminds me of that meme I posted on Instagram where someone was talking about how the king has now like a radio station of the music he listens to. And someone commented like, whether you're royalty or peasants, the call of the podcast, calls all men. All men just want a
Oh my
podcast.
God, that's so true.
They
And
just
this is
want to
my
be heard.
podcast, I
No one
guess.
listens to them.
This is my
Yeah.
podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And
yeah,
what did you do other than thinking
I
about
ate lunch.
Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Ate lunch.
Yeah.
The first, what's that meme? What's that TikTok audio? The first woman to sin was a woman who ate, or whatever.
Well,
It's like a dance club beat song.
Eve.
Heard it.
I don't know.
But yeah, I read some more in Bird by Bird. Ugh, she's so funny. She is so funny. I'm loving this book. I always think of my favorites as in like those, what's it called? Letterbox for favorite movies or whatever. So I think this is one of my 4 favorite craft books, and I'm like not that deep in.
Wow.
Wow.
Already, and you're already like, this is one of my faves, and that's all you read? That's crazy good then.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, but I'm just responding to the voice very much. I think it's very relatable, and I relate to relatable.
As I've
Um,
just learned in lesson 5 of character creation, you need relatability.
Is
I
it?
mean, yes. So
I was going to say though, since you haven't read any of Sanderson, does watching his lectures ever make you want to read any of his stuff? Like hearing
No,
him talk about like the way that he does it and like character stuff, like does it make you go, "Oh wow, that'd probably be
it
pretty
would,
good."
but as a writer then, and like I don't really want to read anything as a writer right now, but like I feel like right now, because I'm listening to him explaining how he does it, I would probably
Right.
read his books in an analytical point of view and be like, oh yeah, clever, I see it, you know?
Mhm.
Like how sometimes once you've been told, you know, some things about Hollywood, like, you know, if
Yeah.
they tell you the plan before executing it, you know they're going to fail the plan. And once you know it, you can't unsee it. And every single time there's a plan that people talk about, you're like, oh, fuck, they're going to fail the
Not gonna
plan.
work.
Or like the whole like Apple versus Android phones and how Apple refuses to like have their phones be used by villains. So if they have a fucking iPhone, they can't be a villain, and you can't unsee it. And I feel like that's the problem. Is that if I were to read one of his books now, I would probably just be deep into his lessons and
Right.
try to analyze what he said, how he does things. I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I was always curious about that because I know a lot of people that watch his lectures, you know, haven't read any of his stuff. So I always never knew if it was like if I had started watching them before I'd read any of his stuff, would I be, I don't know. Like sometimes watching people teach things makes me less likely to
Hmm.
read their things because for what you just said, I would be
No, I do
analytical.
appreciate that, like, having read a bunch of craft books with Stieg,
Yeah.
every single time Stieg always introduces the authors, and every single time he's like, here's what they've written, or like what else they've, you know, published that is actual fiction instead of
Right.
nonfiction, how to craft. And it's interesting for once watching someone that you know before I get into his craft
Right.
is really successful, because I'm even more interested in knowing about, like, I feel
Right.
like that does impact
Your
it.
formula. Yeah.
Yeah.
he's very like, because I feel like you and me, Malin, we respond very much to like a analytical approach to writing, and
Yeah.
it's not so much about like the passion of the art or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's very much like, yeah, you need to have like, you know, this here and that there, and then you get equals X
I
here.
love a formula. Give me the easy
Uh,
step by step. Give me a
so I
recipe.
feel like that very much, you know, resonates with our kind of mindsets on writing.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a writing group with a bunch of girly pops who's very like passion driven, and I'm like, not once have I ever had the desire to like, I've never disappeared into my writing or into a book or like whatever. But they have, and I think that's beautiful. But this one, she's very much not prescriptive. I think prescriptive is the word I'm looking for. So it's been very interesting being like so taken by this book, which is a more like non-prescriptive analytical approach so far.
Okay.
So that's been interesting. Susan says, "Hey Malin, I would be interested to read his books as a writer, but don't think I'd love them as a reader. Not an epic fantasy girly. Ooh, then Brandon Sanderson is definitely not for you."
Although
Um,
I would maybe read Tress of the Emerald Sea, which I hear is slightly more cozy vibes. And I do like cozy fantasy, so maybe that one.
I thought Mistborn was great, so I
Yeah.
don't know why I haven't read anything else. But I was just like, okay, I'm done with Sanderson now.
Yeah, but that's how I act with every other author. And it's not because Brendan Sanderson has a huge following and everyone is like, I read all of his books and I'm a huge fan and now I love everything by him, that we're not gonna do the same
Yeah.
just because we know that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but just I'm kind of jealous about Sanderson readers because like how much material do you have to read from this thing
I
you love?
know.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
but
like,
it runs out fast.
Yeah.
not that fast for me. I'm a slow reader, so you know,
I mean,
to
I
get
am
into
too.
those 400,000 word count books, it would
I'm,
take me a
I'm,
while.
I mean, I'm a slow reader too, but like I've also been reading him for years and years. So it's like it's much easier to read his books as they're released as opposed to going, oh, I love Brandon Sanderson today. Let me read his back. You know what I mean? Because when I started reading him, he had just finished the Wheel of Time series for Jordan, and I've never read Wheel of Time, but that's how Dylan, the kid I used to babysit that's 35, that's how he got into him. And so that's why, like, cause he loves Wheel of Time, which he, to be fair, it's funny because he has been trying to get me into Wheel of Time, but for some reason that one, I'm like, I can't do, because every person that I know that has read Wheel of Time says the exact same thing. They say the first few books or whatever are phenomenal, and then the middle is a slog. You just have to get through it until you get to the last. And I'm like, a slog? These books are like 1,200 pages long. I'm not going to get through 4 1,200 page books that are a slog. It's just never going to happen. I'm never going to do it. So yeah, so that's why I never got into Wheel of Time. But
If you're into the audiobooks, I do recommend the newly
yeah,
released ones.
I could do the audiobook, because then it's just something I could put on while I'm like sewing or something like that. But again, that's a lot of hours.
I mean, if you do it as me, 2 times speed, it's just like 11 hours per book or something.
See, I've tried that. Like, I can do 1.5 and sometimes 1.75, but when I do 2, I'm not comprehending anything.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I'm only on book 3 of the Wheel of Time series, and it takes me a good year to get through each book, just because.
I'm saying.
But I think, Rosamund Pike, Undying Love, as we all know, she does a phenomenal job for the audiobooks. And I don't think I could read them physically,
Okay.
but the audiobooks are great. And as a little reward, each time I complete an audiobook, I get to buy one of the hardback copies with the old covers, because they're so pretty.
Eventually, but hey, tell me when you get to the middle ones and see.
There's one, like, there's a winter
Everyone's like-
cover and some horses and shit, and people say that, it made them want to stop read forever.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Every person I know has said these things, and I'm like, why are you trying to get me to read this thing? Why?
That's such an intense thing to say as well. Like they want to stop reading Wheel of Time, or they want to stop reading anything at all, whatever.
I think it's like book 8 or like 7 or whatever, somewhere in the middle there. But it's a struggle to get through.
Exactly the same. And then they said, like, when Sanderson takes over, it's like that's what got Dylan into Sanderson, was because he was like, whoa, like, it totally got him back into Wheel of Time, and he was really, really excited about it. So
yeah, but they, like, having the hardbacks on my shelf is so satisfying. So, like,
I know
I'll get through it just so I can buy that copy.
That's how the Sanderson Stormlight is for me. Like, they take up an entire shelf, and there's only like 5 books.
Yeah. And they are bigger than the Wheel of Time ones, I think, aren't they?
Well, maybe.
The Way of Kings. I mean, oh my god, that was a break.
Here. Let me show it here. I got the most recent one too, but
I'll get Wheel of Times.
Like,
I'll show off my romances. Look at these sprayed edges. Yay!
It's like gigantic, but compared to,
oh yeah, that is large.
The first one, Way of Kings, which people still say is big, it's like,
ooh, those are some bricks.
Although it doesn't look that much bigger, but it's a lot bigger. The one on the bottom is the newest one. But yeah, they're huge. They just take up so much space.
Oh, I've never seen the cover of the second one. These are the Wheel of Time hardbacks, and they're also huge.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Comparison. This is like a regular pocket.
Wait, what about compared to that story grid book?
I have it here.
Realized is something must have spilled into.
Oh, you can't see it.
Because I have water damage on my book.
Oh no!
Oh dang!
Yeah, like major water damage. Uh-oh. I need to examine
like old water damage, like from.
Yeah, it looks like it. I probably can't see it on camera, but it's like.
Oh, that does look. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Do you line the books up on the shelf in the front, so it's like a sleek front?
Yeah, I mean, I just had it like, open so you see the first book and then the other
Oh,
ones
okay.
are next to it. But let me just go check my other books real quick. Hang on. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Emergency
We'll go
water
through some more
damage
comments.
moment.
Let's see what our friends did for that sprint. Bombastus joined us. Hello, hello, Bombastus. Welcome back from wherever you've been. Anna was headed to a meeting.
Oh, good
PB
luck.
says hashtag sorry to my laptop.
Oh no.
Is the laptop okay,
Susan,
Phoebe?
Susan got 419 words brainstorming. Yay.
Yay.
JC finished the scene and got a total of 566 words for that sprint, moving on to another project now.
Nice.
And Eva says, my husband isn't a writer, but has watched Sanderson's lectures a bit. Not super focused or completely, but he's recommended them to me. I've seen them, never read him. Yeah. He has read Sanderson. Okay.
That's
I listen
crazy.
to audiobooks at 2 times speed now. I
I'm at
love it. Me too,
1.5
Phoebes.
max. I feel like 1.5 is all I can do.
My husband is the sort that has read audiobooks Wheel of Time several times. Several times is crazy. One time, okay. Several times, crazy.
One
Got the
time is
big
crazy
Kickstarter.
already. It's so many books.
I'm only on book 3, so that's why I only have 2 copies. But like, I just love the covers. They're very
Yeah,
like the
They're
old-timey fantasy
so
ones.
vintage, retro, cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just
Oh,
have.
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite Hobbit cover? Because don't you collect
Ooh,
all the Hobbits? Yeah, what's your favorite one?
dang, Becca.
Have you tier ranked them yet?
And do you like The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings, or do you like Lord of the Rings more than The Hobbit?
Ooh,
I
I
feel like
like
Steve
The
is
Hobbit the
sitting
best.
in therapy and is just like, what the fuck? How dare you ask me this question?
Favorite cover of The Hobbit in English, or is it open to any
Any,
language?
any, like your absolute favorite. And do you have it? And can we see it?
Oh my God, Becca, buckle up. Do I have it? I'm going to pull a little selection of some of my favorites because that's
Okay.
who I am as a person.
Okay.
Let's see. This one for sure, and that. I love this, and I love you. You're coming home with me.
You're already home.
Oh, and you're pretty. You're coming too.
You have to pick one.
Yeah,
No, I'm showing a selection.
we can show the selection, but what's
And then you have to pick one.
leaning towards? Yeah, like you
Oh.
don't have to say like definitively, but definitely you're leaning towards your favorite.
No, I like this. You have to say definitive.
Well, my favorite one is going to be this one.
Ooh.
That's pretty.
But that's only because this is like the first book I ever got as a
Okay.
gift from my aunt. She bought it for Christmas, which is why The Hobbit for me is a Christmas book. So it's a nostalgia. It's Smaug. A
Yeah.
little pile of
that's
gold.
pretty. Okay.
So this is the favorite,
Ooh.
I think.
I love that.
Very cute.
I feel like that matches that vintagey retro vibes we were just saying about the Wheel of Time.
It is very much of the age, I think.
Yeah.
I think my favorite art-wise is going to be this one. This is the Finnish version.
Ooh.
I just love this. This is made by the same artist.
It looks so cute. Why does Smoke look so cute?
Oh my
This is made by the same artist who did Moomin. I don't know if any one of you are familiar
Yeah,
with Moomin.
we know Moomin.
But this is made by the same artist, and I just love it. Look at that little dragon,
Oh
and
my
you
God,
can
I
kind of
love
see,
that.
and then
Yes.
there's the dwarf, and I love this. This is stinking cute.
Yeah, that's amazing.
My favorite ugly cover is this one. I don't know what's going on.
That was so funny.
Why is Bilbo just who he is as a person? Why is Gollum a Karkaroff-esque mummy in the background?
Oh my God. It looks like an SNL character, like
It
playing.
is so ugly, but I love it. This is my favorite
This
ugly
is
one.
so fun.
That is so funny.
And
I want a
you,
movie with these people playing these roles.
Yes.
I'm gonna get the Lord of the Rings series in the same cover because it is also equally 80s atrocious. So you'll see that.
So that is good.
See, that is good.
That's so funny.
Especially the 2 towers in this edition. This is This is the Fellowship in the same series, and I'm just like, who's that?
That's
Who's that
Abram.
Who's that Frodo in the background?
That is hysterical. Oh my
Oh,
And
god.
then the Two Towers, featuring
Oh
oh my
Gimli
god,
and
no.
Legolas.
Not the Legolas wig.
I don't know.
It
Can you
looks like
see?
cosplayers like did all the covers.
Yeah.
And then this is the Return of the King,
Oh my god.
with
That's
the
What
ugliest
word?
Aragorn ever.
religious or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe I could. Sorry, Eva. So those are in the same vein as that. One of my favorite newer ones is this, which I think is so cozy.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
It's very
I love
This
cute.
is the German version. I got this from Anne Sophie, but I
Oh,
love this cover.
yeah, I
I
love
think
that.
she's so cute.
Oh,
Oh,
my god.
So I love that one. This one is a cloth bound version, and I think is really cute. And it's
Yeah, that's
illustrated by Jemima Catlin.
I love that one.
And I think,
I gotta say the Finnish one is definitely my favorite.
yeah, I love the Finnish one. She's stinking cute.
Yeah.
I am partial to cloth bound, so I do love that.
I'm just trying to find one of the illustrations here that are like the whole page. There you go. This is Bilbo in the eagle nest.
Oh wow. Wow.
I think I saw that one in
Yeah.
French when I was in Belgium, and I sent you a picture, and you were like, "I've already got it in English. It's the same cover."
Yes. I also love like the classic Tolkien one. This is the
I
one
love
he
that
drew for
one.
his book.
I do love that one too, the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
This is
Also,
the
it's so cute size-wise. Like it's such
yeah.
a
This is the
format.
travel version. Originally, when it first published, it didn't have the red sun, and it also didn't have a red smoke because it was too expensive. So it's just white on the original cover. But this is like a anniversary edition, 75th question mark.
Would you say you liked that one more than the Finnish one, or which one would you between the two of those?
Ooh. No, I like the Finnish one. I think that's my favorite aesthetically.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Was that all the ones? And then I have one in Latin, which I think is cute. But just because it looks like this little mosaic.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
That's really pretty.
It looks almost like a non-fiction history book.
Or like or even maybe like what were those Tom Hanks movies, with the where he was a treasure hunter?
My mind went to Nicolas Cage. So
Angels and
No, I
Demons.
realized treasure hunters sounded like words, but it's like
Angels and Demons. And
yeah,
that.
Da Vinci Code,
it was a part of that series. Like his first one was
like the Dan
Yeah.
Brown.
There was some kind of picture of like the last meal or whatever.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a kind of like mosaic.
Yeah. No, I also really
Oh,
like
that's
this
so pretty.
one. So these are a few of my favorite things. Thank you so much for asking.
Yes, no, thank you.
And I have like 17 other editions. Oh, and I want to also showcase this one. I like this one.
Oh, that is
Ooh.
beautiful.
No title, just a little
Oh,
dragon.
pretty.
I love that.
So yeah, I think she's cute. She comes with a little box.
Very
So
classy.
yeah, very demure, very mindful. But ultimately, Becca, this is my favorite because this has all the nostalgia.
Okay.
And I think this is my favorite pretty one.
Yeah.
And then this is my
Favorite
favorite ugly one. So can I name these three as
Yes.
the tributes?
They're
Perfect.
each getting a medal in their own category.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Anyway, what we're talking about.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Let's see. It's a book show and tell. I love it. Not Becca making Stig choose his favorite child. That's what it felt like. In terms of loving The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings more, The Hobbit is like the deep-seated nostalgia in me, so
Yeah.
I love that more. I think Lord of the Rings is a more interesting story.
Right. Okay.
Though is it? Yeah, it is. I think it is. Stig, how many different editions of The Hobbit do you own? All these covers look awesome. I have 20 something and still collecting, but I think I'm getting into a phase where I'm trying to refine my collection and not just collect to collect.
Okay.
23 or something, I think is the number. Let's see.
I have a very special edition of
Ooh,
A Dowry
that is
of
definitely
Blood.
not The Hobbit.
No.
No, this is A Dowry of Blood that came in
Looks
last
cool.
week.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
I love the boxes.
Ooh, I love the foiling.
Yeah,
I want more books with boxes.
I know.
I do love a good book box, but also it's very inconvenient on the shelf.
And it's got the paper.
Oh, I love a good end paper.
And the signature.
Yay!
Is it foiled edges, the Holy Trinity?
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Oh, shiny.
Though I will say every book and their mother is getting a foiled edge these days, so it's kind of diminishing it for me.
But I sort of
These
feel like
paperbacks have sprayed edges.
I love a good sprayed edge.
a little while ago, people were complaining that books weren't like not getting enough specialness in terms of like their regular editions, and that's why book boxes were really popular because people wanted the special edition and like the look and feel of like this is I've bought this item, it's really beautiful, etc. So I feel like they're finally listening. So I don't want to complain about the other way around now.
I mean, that's true, but it does feel like it kind of diminishes it a little bit.
I just don't want to
Um,
buy a fucking book box and get a bunch of trinkets that I'm gonna have to throw away because, like, I
Oh.
don't care for a mug or like an apron or whatever. Like,
That's
just
true.
give me the book.
Yeah.
That's true. Do you own many versions of any other titles? Not really. I have two versions of Pride and Prejudice for some reason. And then, as a side effect of getting the Hobbit books, I have a bunch of boxes with Lord of the Rings books because they often come in a packet set. So, for example, this ugly one, you can't really buy it standalone. You have to buy it in a book box.
And you
So-
need those. Like, these are the best.
And I
ones.
needed this. I saw this cover online. I was like, you're coming home with me. So I actually had to order it from like a library who had a local sale in Pennsylvania. Katie picked it up for me, and then she brought
Wow.
it to our little cabin trip, so I could take it with me home.
It's a proper
Uh,
traveled book.
And this is the little box it comes with, well used, but it was worth it because this book is so
Yeah.
cute.
No, for sure.
Um,
Oh my god.
so yeah, that's some of my favorite editions. Let's see. Lol, Steve's excited face. Buckle up. Phoebe's laptop is doing well. Thank you so much. I love we can just hear Steve off camera choosing between his children. People who say they don't have a favorite child does not have children.
Mine is Roy. Roy's my favorite child.
And that is so real of you, Laura. That is so bad. The cover is, yeah. These covers are all amazing in their own way. Yeah, they are. But I think I picked, if you're doing the letterbox standard method, I have one more book to pick, so I have not decided on that. But my 4 favorite covers. I actually thought about doing like a little collection tour or like a history lesson on The Hobbit for the Hobbit Days coming up in September.
Oh, cute.
And make that like my video on my YouTube channel because Grape has been pestering me about it.
You're gonna make a video on your YouTube channel? That's crazy.
I mean, apparently I owe Grape a video, so she's collecting. I think we're going to go into the last sprint of the day, maybe.
And it's time for me to skedaddle.
Skedaddle away, Laura. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed. I need you to get money so you can buy more books.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Bye.
It'll be good for the economy.
Yeah.
We're going to do another 30-minute sprint because that's like a good reading length. And watch an ad.
What is that for?
Show which is a Asian dancing company by the looks of it.
Okay.
But yes, 30 minutes on the clock starting now. And good luck, Laura. Good luck, babe. It always gives me Walking in the Air vibes. That a little piano tune.
I didn't really hear it. I don't know if it was
hear it
on
either.
for us.
I mean, I can't help that, Malin. But let's get things in order here. Let's get our ducks in row. There you go.
I'm back.
How did you do for that interview, Laura?
I think it went really well.
Yeah.
They said I should hear back beginning of next week.
Fingers crossed on both hands.
And toes. Everything crossed.
I can't cross my toes, but
Really?
I'm doing it right now.
I can kind
proof.
of
Put your
cross
feet
them.
on the internet, Malin.
No, I'm not doing
Free!
that.
For free!
I read
But
someone
maybe.
say, what was it? Feet are the new nipples or something. You know how like people were like, "Oh, you can't show your nipples on the internet before."
Oh,
But
I
now
didn't
everyone
know.
and the
Like,
mother is
no.
showing the nipples, and
I
like,
feel like it's not so much like you still can't show your nipples on the internet, but if you show your feet, you should charge people. Is all it is.
yeah. But anyway, how did you for that sprint, Malin? I did saw a little belly up Edgar, very cute, very
Yes.
demure.
Yes, he's
Oh my god, my little boy.
very, very tired.
It's hard
Um,
work being a dog.
Yeah, it is. It's hard work begging to play with the ball again and again and again and again and again and again and again.
And then being shut down every damn time.
Every single time. Like literally he'll come back from his walk with the walker and it'll be like, and now we play. And now we play. I'm like, no. I watched another good chunk of mostly I just watched the motivation questions part of that lecture. And I'm now at 46 minutes out of it was like an hour 15. So I've got 30 minutes left of it. And took some notes of the interesting questions and just sort of like watched the ones that I was like, I don't think I'm
The
learning
boring
anything.
ones.
There's some that is more just like, oh, I'm not sure this is relevant to this lecture. Like there was one, he was mostly answering it by going back on the plot, premise, progress thing, whatever. I keep forgetting what it is.
Promise,
and it was
progress,
like, this
payoff.
is lesson 2 and we're in lecture 6, so irrelevant.
As it was. Ms. Becca C. Smith.
I got to finally work on my screenplay. So
Yay.
yeah, I definitely am taking down the pages, but it's still a little long.
Were your other books okay, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know how that got water damaged. It must have been in the
Just the
move.
one.
It was just the one. Yeah. So I checked everything on the shelf because I do have a plant on that shelf, but I have like a thing that, so that no water can ever come out of it. So I was like, and I wouldn't even know how it would get there because it's like the third row down. So I'm just thinking that it was during one of my mini moves. Like it probably was at the bottom of a box that got into a puddle or something.
Was it signed or anything?
Oh God, I don't know. No. Okay. Because I remember buying a copy, but I did that for Dylan. I gave him a signed copy of the same book. So no, mine is not signed. I was like, oh man, was it signed? Oh,
That'd be devastating.
I know.
I have a bunch of signed Samantha Shannon books, and if anything ever happened, then I would be gutted.
You know what's funny though? When I was a kid, I was like 12 and I went to meet my favorite author at the time, which was Terry Brooks. He was at the mall and I had to have my parents drive me, obviously, but everyone in line was adults, right? Because he writes adult like high fantasy. But I had like all my paperbacks like ready to sign. They all have hardbacks, of course. And I didn't know any different. Like for me, a paperback was the same. So he was so sweet about it, but I still have my Sword of Shannara, but it's falling apart because it's a paperback and like it's from 1977 or whatever. So it's like literally in pieces, but it still has his signature on it.
Well, eventually, could you maybe just save the page and frame it?
I know. It's like, yeah, because it's literally like, and I
If
read
it,
it so many
like
times.
worlds, it could be
So
a
like,
little art piece.
literally, you can see it's already,
Oh, girl.
yeah,
Wow.
but I can open it without it falling apart. Um, and there it is.
Oh, that could be framed and be really cute.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
You
true.
can always keep that one page if needed. And like,
And I made him sign everything. I brought like 10 books.
oh my god,
As is your right.
that's so cute.
He totally didn't mind. He thought my mom was the fan because everyone else in line was an adult, and I couldn't speak because whenever I meet somebody that I admire, and it still to this day happens, by the way, which totally sucks, I completely become mute. And so he just kept trying to ask me questions, and he's all like, he had like 2 different series. He's like, which is your favorite series? And I would like point to one. And then it was the Shannara series, and he was all like, well, what would you say? Because he hadn't released one in like 4 years or something. And he was like, what would you say if next year I came out with another book in the Shannara series? And I went, no.
Poor
The
Cherry
first thing
Brooks.
I say. And I think inside I was like, no, really? Oh my gosh.
Gee golly.
No. Anyway, he laughed and he was very sweet. Yeah, so anyway, so it's both wonderful and scarring moment of my life. It's great.
Let's see. I read some more in where's the darn book? There's so many books here now suddenly. Oh, there she is. I read some more in Bird by Bird, and I am loving it. Do. Let's see how our friends did. Good luck, Laura. Good luck, Laura. Apparently that helped.
Yeah.
We were joined by Hayden, a Southern writer. Welcome, welcome. Hello, first time here, joining at the 10-minute mark, aiming for 250 words, which did not happen because they got distracted, but that's okay. There will be a new sprint, probably not today, but at some point in time, there will be new sprints for you to do, Hayden. What do you work on? Tell us everything. We are nosy people. I would love to know more about your story. Lynn also saw Edgar belly up.
He's still belly up right now, like full on.
JC says, I heard it, but it was very faint. Oh my, wow. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't know what you don't
That
like.
was in reference to you calling feet the new nipples.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm just a mouthpiece for the internet. What can I say? Susan got 380 words. That's spring. Over 1,000 for the stream. Well done. Some love for Edgar. I just watched Singles Inferno. Don't know what that is.
Oh, that is
It's a reality TV show.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll probably into that then.
Did you guys? Is it UK based?
Oh, maybe. It
Or
doesn't
is
sound.
no, I thought it was Korean or something. I thought it was Asian, but like it's on Netflix, I think.
Okay, let me.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it, at least in the UK, which is why I was confused for a second.
Oh, I
This
see.
is the first time hearing of Singles Inferno. So
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but yeah, it's on Netflix, so maybe I'll check it out.
Is it Korean? I feel like it's
It
Korean,
looks
right?
like it, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm more inclined to watch shows that are like making things like clothes or
Oh, I love
baking
these.
or
Is it
I love
Nerd
all the
Forge?
fashion ones. Like
yes.
they're
Yeah.
so fun.
I watch those too. It always gets me to want to sew.
Oh my god, baby Becca. JC went and got some lunch because they got hungry, which is, how the body works. So good on ya. Good on ya. I think that was the last sprint of the evening. I'm
Wow.
tapping out at 2 hours and 36 minutes. I got a bunch of reading done, and I got my daily work done, and I got to hang out with some lovely friends. So could it be better? I doubt it. Only if Laura got the job. That will be like the cherry on top of the
Yes.
ice cream sundae that has been this Tuesday. I'm going to stop now, I promise. Thank you so much for being here. It helped me stay focused. You're welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to these 3 lovely ladies for joining me week after week after week after week. I am obsessed. I
Thank
love
you
my
for having
friends. What can I
us.
say?
And thank you for letting us put our name on the sheet every week if we want to.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Might make a new sheet after this. Oh, I'll do that next Tuesday. I'll do it on next Tuesday. Makes more sense. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Next week is with Grape. We are doing a little writer chat about Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. Join us if you want to hear our thoughts about it. Which reminds me, I should probably remind Grape that she's here next Tuesday.
Has she read it?
And then, I think she has the physical copy, so she can read it. She's like a sit down and read it in one sitting kind of girly pop. So
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you so much for being here. Be here next week. I'll be here tomorrow for the Trouble stream. And as always, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.